I started in 1969. I was teaching primary school in London and also training in contemporary dance at the London School of Contemporary Dance. And after 3 years of doing that, they asked me if I'd be interested to go to New York and train in an exercise technique, which they didn't quite know anything about, but they knew it was very good for dancers. So I went to New York in 1969 and stayed there for 9 months and came back and set up the first studio in London. I think Pilates is effective working with injuries and also with postural problems in that it works individually, and rather than just teaching a class of people the same exercise, you either develop an exercise to help that person, but change the existing exercises to suit what they need. It's very much tailored for the individual. I think to keep the body strong, it has to be, simple exercises have to be done on a regular basis. And the secret is not to make them complicated. Doing something that you can do, for example, you can do stomach exercises while you're cooking, or while you're working at the stove, while you're washing up. It's easy to build in things that don't take any time and don't necessarily interrupt what you're doing. We are going to try with some of the tips and show you how it's very, very easy to change your body image and position without too much work. Hello, this is Louise, and she's going to help me to show you the exercises that we're going to work through this afternoon. First of all, I want to show you what incorrect posture is and what correct posture is, so you have an idea of the areas that we're going to work on. So first of all, we're going to look at an incorrect posture. So Louise, can you stick out there, and I'll go forward and stick your chin up a little. Now this is a slight exaggeration to give you an idea of what goes wrong. And as you see, there's more of a curve of the lower back, the lumbar spine, and there's a tightness in the upper spine, so it's curved where it should be straight. And in this position, these muscles aren't working, nor is the stomach. Can you let your stomach hang out just a little? And also, because the upper back is curving forward and around, breathing is very difficult. So what we need to get into a good position is to elongate the spine here like this. So when you look, there's a line from the ear through the shoulder joint, through the middle of the ribs, through the hip joint. Can you move back a little more? Weight onto your heels just slightly. Down through the knee and hitting the floor just beside the ankle joint. So this will mean that these muscles have started working. The chest has opened and the shoulder blades have slid down, and breathing is much easier, and the abdominals are helping to support the spine. The muscles we're going to work on to help to hold this position, we're going to work the back of the legs, which are the hamstrings, these muscles that go up to the top, the gluteals, the buttock muscles, the muscles just below the shoulder blades, and the abdominals. So we're going to start with the abdominals. So you lie down in a position we call semi-supine. Your knees are bent at a 90-degree angle. The whole foot is on the floor, so you feel the bottom of the foot like a triangle placed on the floor. And your pelvis is flat down onto the bed. If you're doing it on the floor, use a rug or something soft so you can hold your position. And the ribs are relaxed onto the floor or the bed. If you're uncomfortable with the head, you can place something under the head so you cut the tension away from the neck. Okay, first of all, we're just going to do breathing. So Louise is going to take a deep breath in through her nose, and she's going to let her stomach muscles come up. So breathe in, right down into the stomach, and then breathe out and slowly pull it down. So breathe in and lift, and breathe out. As she's doing this breathing, the pelvis and the ribs and the lower back stay absolutely in the same position. We don't alter that position. And as you do this, the stomach rises up on the inward breath and gently drops down on the exhalation, on the outward breath, without you doing too much work. Just let the breath do the work. The next thing you do, you're going to do the same exercise, but as you breathe out, you're going to feel that you have a belt around your waist. And as you breathe out, you're going to think of that belt tightening. So you're narrowing your waist as you breathe out. So breathe in through the nose, and breathe out and narrow the waist. We'd normally do that about 8 times. We'll just do 3 or 4 for the sake of getting through the whole exercise routine. We're then going to, with the knees together, we're going to do what we call hip rolls. So very gently, you open your knees to the side, you breathe in to open, and breathe out to come back. And then breathe in and out. As you come over to one side, you gently let the hips come away from the floor. You're not pushing them up, you're just allowing them to come away. Breathe out to come through center. And breathe in to go over. And breathe out. Now you feel you're pulling in on the opposite side as you bring the knees back into the center. Now we're going to do the same exercise, but in a slightly different position. The legs come apart, roughly in line with your shoulders. So one knee drops open, and the other knee just stretches diagonally. So this knee is stretching down towards the other foot, and it will get a longer pull through here. The main thing, you try and keep the shoulder blades down on the bed as you do it. And breathe out to come through center, and breathe in to go over to the other side. You'll feel a stretch through the top of the leg, through into the torso. Now to help when the upper torso is very tight, it tends to close off this part of the upper torso. So we need to get exercises to bring it open. So a very simple one is to take your hands up and place one hand on top of the other and make a diamond shape. So your elbows are wide. So this is your position. And now as you breathe in, you're going to very gently take that shape back over your head, which will help to open out through the shoulders. It doesn't matter that if you don't go very far to begin with, but don't strain it to go too far back. And then breathe out to come back. What you have to make sure that when you take your arms back is to keep the ribs down onto the bed. So you don't arch your upper back. It stays down so you get the stretch across the front. And then back. And it comes back to this position. And then you can change the hands after you've done 3 or 4 and back. All the time thinking of the exercise you did earlier of holding this together and gently drawing the stomach muscles down, which is supporting the lower torso as you do this exercise. Now let's move the shoulders, just think of opening the shoulders out a little. We're going to fold our arms. So one hand is on the elbow and the other hand, the finger and thumb on the inside of the other arm. Now from there, as you breathe in, you're just going to very gently take the elbow over, keeping this shoulder down. And breathe out to come through center, and breathe in to go over. So it's a very easy position. Feel the stretch through the shoulder when you go to the opposite side. So we're getting a stretch through this shoulder joint here, and then through to the other side. Again, we do 4 or 5 in each position. I think if we keep to 8 times, so on this one, 4 to one side and then 4 to the other. Good. Now, to make it a little more difficult, what we're going to do is we're going to take the elbow over, and this elbow is going to make a half circle over the top of the head and then come around into the center. Then you go to the other side. You go across, breathing in there, breathe out and stretch. Again, you go just as far as you can. You don't strain it, and gradually you'll be able to take the arms completely above the head. But just go where what feels comfortable for you in the beginning. The next exercise is the bridge, and this works the back of the thighs, the buttock muscles, the hamstrings, works the lower back. As you lift up, it strengthens the back. As you come down, it stretches the back. So you think of your hips, your hip bones here. As you breathe in, you lift your hips up towards the ceiling so that you have a line from your knees to your hip to your shoulder. And that's where you work these muscles here at the back of the leg. And as you breathe out, you slowly curl down. So you curl down from the upper back, through the middle back, and down, so you put the pelvis back onto the floor. So you breathe in and reach up, very long. So this line is very long. And now slowly curl down. Feel the softening through the chest, and feel the stomach muscles helping to take the back down. Feel that you're almost as if you have a weight on your lower stomach muscles as you go down. And breathe in and lift. Keep the weight firmly onto your feet, and you feel the top of the legs and the hamstrings, the muscles at the back of the leg working. And now you're thinking, imagine stretching the spine as you curl down from the front of the torso. Now we're going to do just this as a relaxing exercise. You lift your knees up one at a time, and there. Now, keeping your pelvis, this area of your back, flat down on the ground, you take hold of your knees, elbows wide. Now, as you breathe out, you very gently pull one knee towards your rib cage, keeping the pelvis flat, and come back. And breathe out and pull. And back. Now, when you do both together, you're breathing out as before. As you pull both, you're gently going to roll your lower back off the bed or off the floor. So you're getting a gentle stretch in the lower back, and then back. The next 2 or 3 exercises, we're going to sit on a stool. When you're sitting, make sure as much as possible that this part of your leg, your thighs, are roughly parallel to the floor, and both feet are firmly pressed on the floor. Not pressed hard, but you feel the whole bottom of the foot. And your knees are roughly in line with the center of your hips. And your back is straight. It's not rigid, but you have a nice curve of the lower back. The stomach muscles are held. And you feel as if someone has very gently lifted you up, so you're elongated into a comfortable position, no tension when you're sitting on this. So as you breathe in, you're going to just lift your shoulders up as high as you can towards your ears. Then slowly slide them down. Just imagine there's a weight on the bottom of your shoulder blades pulling you down. So you breathe in to lift up and breathe out and slide down. Now the next one you do, you turn your hands so your palms are facing backwards to the back. So you take a breath, you're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, you're slowly pulling your hands back. So you feel the muscles around the shoulder blades and underneath the shoulder blade, and a very slight lift of your breastbone as you do it. See how the back is straight? As she breathes in and pulls back, the hands go slightly beyond the hips, but not too far. You want to keep this part very open and then back. So in the beginning, it's quite a short movement, and then gradually you extend. Excellent. On this next exercise, we're going to think about rotation. It's very important to be able to turn the upper torso. You know, if someone speaks to you behind you, you turn from the torso, and you need the movement in the upper torso. So we're going to take our fingers like this and place them. The fingertips go onto the breastbone, just roughly in the middle of the breastbone. And the elbows are wide but comfortable. Now, without moving your pelvis, without moving, the hips stay absolutely still. As you breathe in, you're very gently going to turn around to your right, keeping the hips absolutely still. And then breathe out to come through center. And breathe in. You can turn, you can turn, you can turn. And breathe out. The secret is to keep the knuckles of the hand together, the joints of the fingers held together. One more in this position. You're going to bend your elbows and have your elbow slightly in front of the shoulder, so it's not completely straight line. It's slightly in front. Now you're going to feel there's a slight pressure against the back of your hand. Now, as you breathe in, you're going to just gently open your hands out to the side. And you'll feel a stretch through the upper torso here, just across the shoulders. And then breathe out to come back. Breathe in. And breathe out. We've done the opening, we've done rotation. Now we're just going to do side stretch. So still sitting on the chair, place one hand behind your head and your elbows roughly in line with your ear, and the other hand is down towards the floor. And as you breathe out, you're going to very gently stretch this elbow up to the ceiling and over. So you're getting a stretch through your ribs and then into the waist. And breathe out to come back. And change. And stretch over, breathing out as you go over. And breathe in as you come back. Now this exercise is to work the hamstrings and the glutes. That is the major part, but you have to think of the other parts of the body at the same time. So the glutes, the hamstrings, and the calves, these work very strongly, but to help to hold the position, you have to use your abdominals and feel the shoulder blades in the right place. So you're going to stand in a small V, so you can feel the inside of your thighs gently pulling together. Okay, so normally, to begin with, you would hold on to something. So I'm just going to hold on to Louise here. It's as if I'm the person in the supermarket queue in front of her, okay? So as she breathes in, she's going to gently squeeze her inner thighs and come up onto her toes and squeezing the bum and drawing the navel in, and breathe out to go down. And breathe in and reach. And breathe out to go down. Now what you're going to do it so well that after a few times, you're just going to do it with your arms by your sides. So you breathe in and come up. See how the tightened here? And then breathe out as you go down. What I want you to try and do, in the beginning when you do this exercise, hold on to something with both hands. Then do with one hand when you get a little better, and then without hands when you do it, so you can really feel the elongation through the body. And let's have one more with it, and just feel the top of the head lifting, and then slowly lower it down and rest. So those few simple exercises, if you do them on a regular basis, every second day, say, you can really feel the difference in the areas to correct your posture.